Welcome to the Scariest Things podcast, your gateway to the trends and tropes of the horror genre. This is a lost episode, episode 133, because we don't know how to read Roman numerals. We're going to do something a little different tonight for our lost episode. We're also going to talk about a film that was lost off our top 100 list. We are focusing on House of the Devil by Ty West.
All right.
Yes. We've mentioned multiple times that this is not on our top 100 list, and we are ashamed. So we're making up for it tonight. Mike, you love this one.
Oh my God, do I
love
ever?
this one.
Do I ever?
Intros, Liz. Intros.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm Liz Williams in New Orleans, joined by the boys in Portland.
Mike Campbell, House of the Devil lover and aficionado.
And Eric Lee, House of the Devil tag-along. It's an excellent movie.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So this came out in 2009.
Yes.
I remember seeing it in the theater. This was long before Eric had wrote me into becoming a horror podcaster. And I was, obviously still interested in horror. And I went to go see it with friend of the podcast, Matt Howell. We decided to go see it here in Portland at the Living Room Theaters downtown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a great place to see it.
It was.
They don't do many horror movies down there.
They don't.
I don't think this came out around here.
Yeah, and they actually did. They did a short Q&A with Ty West, like a video Q&A with him in the theater after the film.
And it would have been so awesome had you actually, if it was done in this time, then you go, oh yeah, Mike Campbell, Scariest Things. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, yeah. So this, of course, is the American horror film written, directed, and edited, triple threat by Ty West. I can't remember how old he was when he made this, but allegedly, this was a film. I think ultimately, you can draw a very clear through line from his art school, his time in art school in New York City, meeting Larry Fessenden, who ponied up the money to help him make The Roost.
Right.
Gave him $50,000. He spent another $15,000 on Trigger Man, and of course that $50,000 and that $15,000 came together and garnered him a $900,000 budget to be able to make House of the Devil. So once again, of course, we always need to recognize and thank Larry Fessenden, who continues to support independent film, and certainly he gave Ty. I don't think Ty West would argue with this. Maybe he would. I don't know. He really gave him his start and really kind of helped him out with that initial boost.
Because this is Larry Fessenden's Glass Eye Picks.
Right.
And he has, I'm going to sort of search through here all of the various directors that he has given assistance to.
Okay.
But Ty West is one of his most notable proteges.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
For sure.
And it really, I think it elevated both Fessenden's studio, but also clearly Ty West was a huge beneficiary of it because they rolled out with the Innkeepers and Sacrament.
Yep.
And a lot of that he became, but sadly it's been a while since he's done a full horror feature.
He does have a film. I was going to save this for the end, but he does have a film that's allegedly coming out in 2021. 2022. You will see this on my best of or soon to be best of 2022 horror films. It's called X. It is
the cast of this film is completely bizarre of what it says. Mia Goth, Kid Cudi, Jenna Ortega, and Brittany Snow, like the girl from Pitch Perfect and stuff. That's bizarre.
Yeah, but good luck finding anything about it. It's like they're keeping the script super duper secret, but it's said to be a horror film in the context of the making of an adult movie, which is obviously why it's called X.
Interesting.
Yes.
He's doing a lot of TV.
He is doing a lot. He's done a lot of TV. He of course did The Exorcist, which was great. Much thanks to Liz, who recommended that to me, and I did go and watch all of that. And you can watch all of The Exorcist on Hulu.
Yeah.
I think it's available on Hulu now, and it's really worth It is absolutely worth watching. It's a really incredible show. But that's not what we're here today talking about. We're talking about House of the Devil. So, Liz, when was the first time you saw House of the Devil?
I mean, I didn't see it in the theater, but it was around when it came out because I had seen The Roost and I knew about Ty West because he was also, like a little Eli Roth buddy.
Yep.
So those guys were all up and coming at the same time. And I love any kind of 80s satanic panic. So this was my jam.
Yeah.
My jam. So it must have been around 2009, 2010.
Okay. Well, and it's interesting you talk about the satanic panic element because this, much like the Texas Chainsaw and Amityville Horror, it purports, of course, the opening text claims that it is based on true events, and obviously that technique is used a lot. Eric posed the question, what true events is this based on? Well, the true events it's based on is really just the satanic ritual abuse from the 1980s and the whole satanic panic scare.
So it isn't.
It's based on an amalgam of things.
Yeah, okay.
So it's based on a true stories, not true story. But yeah, it's really there is a book from the 1980s. I think it's called what the heck is the name of that book? Michelle Remembers, which is about the McMartin preschool trial, which had that was the one that where they had filed thousands and thousands of cases of satanic ritual abuse, all of which were found to be completely
because they were all those like recovered memories, right? That's when that was a big thing.
Right. So
yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's I mean, it was loosely obviously based on the satanic ritual abuse from the 1980s, but this one dives full long into that concept and really gives you a sense that, oh my God, this could actually be a real thing. Not only in the in the 1980s, but like up to and including the present day.
Yeah, apart from the conclusion, where they go full on supernatural with it, you could see the culty bits.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So this film, of course, was all shot in Connecticut. Takes place in the 1980s. If you haven't gathered that already, the film was all shot on 16 millimeter, which I thought was really interesting.
It looks it.
Yeah, because you're like, because it does look a little off.
It looks like 80s or late 70s, early 80s.
Right.
Low B movie stuff.
Like film quality.
Intentionally so.
It's not shot in a square aspect ratio, which is cool. It is shot in a wide aspect ratio. I don't know exactly what the aspect ratio is, but it isn't shot as a square. It is shot as in the wide aspect ratio in 16 millimeter. But yeah, everything from the opening titles to the Greg Kihn song, "They Don't Write Them Like That Anymore," which
they don't write like that anymore. They also had they had the fix.
That's right.
Yeah, one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
She's got a sweet Walkman.
Yes, she's got a Walkman.
Which she drops inelegantly, bounces off the. I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but it was like, ooh, that vintage Walkman just took a nosedive on the steps.
Yes. So all the 1980s trappings are there. I think they're very authentic. I think
down to the Volvos. Yep.
Down to the Volvo. I think he took a lot of time and care and energy in creating that environment. I think he really succeeds. I think one of the things for me that really succeeds too is that the film is clearly shot at either the tail end of fall or the tail end of winter, where there's no vegetation and everything is gray and dark. Oh no!
Right.
I guess it's shot. No. It's fall. Yeah, it's in the fall.
Yeah, it's fall or winter because he's always wearing a jacket.
It takes place over a day.
Right.
So it starts out in sunny and cold and bleak.
Right.
But it ends dark and cold and bleaker.
Right. And so yes, and the basic gist of the premise of the film is a young woman played by, of course, the great Heather Donahue.
Jocelyn
Donahue, not Heather Donahue.
Heather Donahue is the girl from Blair Witch Project.
I know. Sheesh. Jocelyn Donahue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Heather Donahue is also great, but
yes. Jocelyn, we would love to have you on the podcast to make up for my horrible error there. But she is renting. She's a college student who is in the process of renting an apartment from the great Dee Wallace. I didn't screw that one up.
Yeah, been there for like 10 seconds.
10 seconds, but yeah, you still still get to see the great Dee Wallace. And she needs extra money to cover the first and last month's rent, and so she takes on a very peculiar babysitting gig.
Quote unquote babysitting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one of the more interesting pieces of the film, and I mean much like we've described with a lot of films where it's like all the pieces have to fit together like perfectly to
and they do
to explain how these things happen. It's like she is
it's a believable motivation.
It is a believable motivation, and then even when things start to go very strange, where Tom Noonan, one of the Satanists, calls back to
who's a very gentle soul when you first.
Yes, his voice is so soothing.
But he's strange and off-putting, but he doesn't scream evil.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
But even
he screams weird.
Mary
though.
Warrenoff, however, kind of does.
Oh my God!
But as soon as you see her, you go, "Whoa, boy!"
Right.
Oh my God! Yeah. He's super calculating, and both of them have like an incredibly intense screen presence that I don't think you see a lot of. I listened to a Ty West interview, and he was talking about how he really likes to, which is part of the reason why his films are so slow, is he likes to hang out with the characters a little bit. And so it provides that extra realism.
It was. I think this is a case study in the three-part act sort of hit. That it's a 90-minute film,
Right.
And then it's about 30 minutes of character setup, 30 minutes of introduction to the transition. The second act is things get weird.
Yep.
Third act is things get bad, right? And I think, but they close out each of the acts sort of distinctly. You can feel the 3-act development of this movie. You could actually, in the way that you could do it as a stage play if you wanted to.
You probably could.
You probably could.
You close the first act with the what is probably the biggest shocker of the movie, and Greta Gerwig. That Greta Gerwig, Academy Award nominated director for Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig, is slumming it as the best friend, who's the ride, and she gets shot.
Right.
And you just do not. And it's like, and it was one of those things where it
comes very, very fast.
And there's no build up to. I mean, there's but it has the classic kind of jump scare relief. And then bang, and then it hits you hard because the guy sort of shows up in the graveyard, and it's like, ooh, you scared me, but he's just kind of this innocuous looking guy, and there's no preamble, there's no musical build up. It's just like, hey, I got a cigarette. Oh, you're not the babysitter? Bang!
Right.
So that was, I think even because I had seen it because you had asked Liz when she had first seen it.
Right.
I saw it because you said you got to see this. And it's like, whatever. And it's like, no, you got to see this. And so I saw it at your house.
Great.
Did I make you watch it at my house? Okay.
Yeah, I was like in 2010 probably.
Okay.
It was several years later.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, that was good. But I kind of forgotten a lot of the pieces and parts of it. So you loaned me your copy.
Right.
And so rewatching it, I had forgotten because I was realizing like, oh my God, it's Greta Gerwig.
Right.
And then she's like driving back. It's like, I have a feeling something bad. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was like, shocker. Yeah. And that, and in a way that, but where your Jocelyn Donahue is unawares.
Not Heather Donahue.
Not
Right.
Heather. Jocelyn, again, we'd love to have you on board.
Yes.
But it is a the what is it? Dramatic irony when the audience knows something that the characters don't.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, this is for the opening third of the movie. It is they tell you it's about satanic rituals.
Right.
But at the first third is the frustrations of being a young, poor college student, trying to find a job and working through and getting this job and then showing up and getting the job.
Right.
There is no horror yet. There's no,
No.
but you were made aware at
No,
the
but
beginning.
that scene right there is when you know, okay, you know something's creepy. And I mean, the movie's called House of the Devil, so
Right.
you know something's going to happen, but you're not sure. But that one just all of a sudden kicks it into
Shit gets real.
overdrive,
Well,
where you're
even-
like, whoa, okay.
Even that little subtle bit at the beginning where Tom Noonan calls her on the payphone and
Yeah.
she says,
Right.
"Wait, I don't understand. How did you get the number of the payphone?" And he basically says, "Don't worry about it. I'm willing to pay you a
Right.
lot of money." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, that's
Okay,
fine."
yeah.
Even that scene,
Yeah.
which is so strange and off-putting, and you even as an audience member kind of put it aside for a second and go, "Okay, something doesn't."
In an
quite
era
add-
before cell
Right.
phones.
yeah, something doesn't add up here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this with our favorite short film from the Portland Horror Film Festival, Hello,
Yes.
which is the shock value of an old school telephone.
Right.
A phone.
Right.
Yeah, it's like ring ring. Oh my god! Right, and then that plays
Yeah, the only way to turn the ringer off is to pull it out of the wall.
right.
Yeah.
Because the idea was that it is stationary in your house and you have to hear it from, like, if you're upstairs in the bedroom,
Right.
and
So
the
it's
phone's
gonna be
ringing downstairs,
loud.
it has to be loud. Yeah,
Right.
Now they don't have to do that; they can just buzz.
Right.
But that is, I think it's amusing how in you can do a retro throwback like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that also shows the care to which Ty West did. It's like an old payphone,
Right.
and that back in the days when when you and I were in the dorms,
Right.
where we were lucky because we were in the
Yes.
University Inn and we
Yes.
had telephones in our rooms, and we didn't have a telephone on the dorm floor where someone would have to do phone duty.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of a thing.
Exactly,
I thought
yeah.
those were some very nice touches, and I do think that if you ask someone to watch it and you didn't tell them it was filmed in 2006, you would assume it was filmed in 1981.
2009. Yeah.
2009. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you really would. I mean, other than the production value being really exceptional, I think, yeah, it could easily pass as a film from the early 1980s.
Yeah.
I think one of the most, getting back to Mary Warnoff and the Tom Noonan characters and the intensity that they bring, I think the second piece, which I can't remember, I think it happens right before what Eric was describing, which is the shooting in the graveyard, is when Mary Warnoff utters the words, "Here we go," like, when
Didn't
she's
pick
like,
up on that.
yeah, when she was like, "All right, here we go," like it's starting, and
Oh yes.
and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God,
Well,
why is she saying that?"
but-
like what is going to happen? Like what's going? Where are we going?
One thing we haven't mentioned, and
Yes.
and of course we've spoiled the shit out of this thing so
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's sort of the purpose of this one. Where
Yes.
we normally don't do this kind of thing on the podcast, but for the missing podcast,
Yes.
we're doing this extra special for you.
Yes, this is more for us than it is for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners.
So the fact that there is the total eclipse of the moon
Right.
happening.
Oh yes, yeah,
Suggests that there is something, because it gives the characters an excuse. It's like, we're going to leave the house. They don't say where,
Right.
But it's like the inference is, we're going to go check out the eclipse. We'll be back, but we want to see it from somewhere else. Or they talk about it. There's press stuff about it, so it's constantly referencing this,
Right.
Because but it is the perfect time apparently for satanic rituals. Who knew?
Yep. Yeah. Well, if you're a Satanist, you better know.
Yeah, right.
You better know.
The other great shock value
Uh-huh.
that comes in that tells you we're not kidding around is seeing there's the clue where you get a photograph of
Right.
the family.
Yep.
And it's like oh, it's the Volvo. Now you could always explain that it's like they could just be friends of the family who are
Right.
there, but clearly it's like, no, these are this is not their home,
Right.
and the family is dead and
Right.
behind a locked door.
In a pentagram.
In a pentagram
In a
with
pentagram.
salt crystals all around them. And I was thinking Dark Song, right?
Right.
There's like,
Yeah,
what are
yeah.
the things?
Oh,
this is,
yeah.
all the kinds of things, the ritual things that you
Yep.
do for a seance with the things from beyond, and in this case, satanic things.
Right.
But I thought that's another really effective use of a horror. It's not a jump scare.
No, it's
But
a reveal.
It's and then but she continues on blithely unawares of this thing, as so it's not like open the door, scream, and then run out and then someone jumps her,
Right.
right, which is what a less adroit production would try and pull off. You would have her open the door, see the body, she would scream, and then someone jumps her.
Right.
This shows a very mature way of handling a story and allowing it to build the dread without our protagonist becoming in the know.
Right. Well, and that's I think one of the things I really love about Ty West is he does the look left, look right, look left, and where most horror film directors would do jump scare at that point. He does look left, look right, look left, look right, nothing happens.
There. Yes.
Right,
Which is
right.
almost even more terrifying than the actual jump scare because you are expecting to be have the
you're hardwired for that.
Yeah, you expect to be scared to death and nothing happens.
Again, it's been many years since I've seen it, so I just saw it like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Where the one that you're talking about, it's like a smashed vase.
Right. Yeah.
And then she picks it up, and then she cleans it up, and looks, and she opens up a closet,
right?
And she finds the furs, and then she finds the photograph, and then she gets up and she starts looking around, and it's like look left, look right, and you were going to think that the guy who jumped Megan,
right,
the
Greta
Gerwig's character, that all of a sudden she would be the one, or that he would be standing at the staircase going, "Ha ha, I gotcha!"
right.
But it's like no, that's cheap. They don't do
happens.
that.
Yeah, Liz, what was the most terrifying scene in the film for you? If you had to
probably pick. Like when he does come in, the son, and she's racing, up the stairs, up in the attic. That's when I'm yelling like, "Don't go into the attic!"
Game on! No, wait! Go out the front door! Go out the front door!
Slipping in the blood.
Yep.
Oh, that was classic.
On the pentagram and everything. Yeah, classic stuff. Because I love this movie. You know what though? I wish there was, I don't know, maybe the last 30 seconds weren't in the movie.
Yep, I agree.
I wish it ended in the cemetery.
Oh, as opposed to ending back in the hospital.
In the hospital.
Yeah, but Friday the 13th Part 2, a la Humanoids from the Deep.
Well, the Humanoids from the Deep connection is like, oh, you'll be fine, both of you. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so this like the satanic ritual worked. It's like, well, good thing it happened in an era where you actually could have a safe abortion if you needed to.
Well, yeah.
Although,
I just didn't like that. I would have rather been like, oh, I think she didn't make it. Like that kind of, I don't know.
I think that kind of ambiguity
I think that would have been, yeah. But maybe, it was almost a student film. I know it wasn't a student film. It was a little bit more advanced than that, but maybe that was my only thing. But I'm saying that now as just rewatching it when I knew we were going to talk about it. I don't know if I felt that way.
Okay.
20 years ago.
How would you?
10 years ago. Came out 10 years ago.
So you would have ended it in the graveyard
cemetery where you would probably have assumed she was dead.
Okay.
Because she got shot in the head, right?
I can see that.
She was shot in the torso, wasn't she?
And
or
then
she got
grazed her
winged.
head, or she got whacked on the head with something.
Okay.
With a big bandage around her head.
Okay. That'd be interesting to know if there's any alternate director's cuts of House of the Devil. Ty West, if you are listening to the podcast, we would love to have you on the podcast, like for real.
Yeah,
I know we say that a lot, but I think you would be somebody who would be great to talk to, not only about this film, but your entire canon and what the hell you've been doing since 2011.
Yep.
So
which is largely TV.
And that Western movie.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there were some that again when you talk about doing things conventionally or unconventionally, there was a moment that where I was like I got frustrated because it's like take the gun,
right,
and she flees upstairs,
right,
and Mary Warrenoff chases her, and then but it's like and then I was like Mary Warrenoff was like she misses the gun too.
Right.
And then they comes up, and then they had their encounter, and then on the way back down, it's like, oh, there's the gun. Pick it up. It's like good. It was not. It's like the knife is a handy weapon. The gun's a better weapon.
Right.
To the point where it's like she could have short shrifted that whole encounter. It's like bang, you gotcha.
Right.
The old bag.
Right.
but at the same time, that was it. It was you're talking about someone who's panicking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was
Well, that's why the panic builds and builds and builds, and as she goes up that staircase, it gets more and more claustrophobic, and then you get that strobe effect.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Right.
oh my God, like everything just comes off the rails at that point, and which is so incredible, and it's such a fascinating juxtaposition between this really slow character development, and then you get to that point in the film, and much like we just talked about with like Saint Maud, much like we talked about with The Feast, these are films where it builds really, really slow, and then you get this crazy juxtaposition where something just out of nowhere happens, and it is. I'm telling you, it is way more shocking than if you have it consistently run throughout the entire film.
Agreed.
I would not say that this is not a slow builder like some of those other ones we're talking. Although it sort of resembles Hereditary.
I mean, it kind of is.
I think it resembles Hereditary, like Charlie versus the telephone pole, right?
Yeah.
Where you get one of the big shocks after the end of the first act.
In this case, Greta Gerwig.
Megan gets her face blown off.
Yeah.
That's all right. Now it's but you still don't understand the full ramifications of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know that it's like, well, you've been told that there's a satanic plot going underway, and then now you know that it's like, okay, that Tom Noonan and Mary Warnoff are the Ullmans, right? They're a weird couple, but it's like suspicious. But then the guy who encounters her in the graveyard, it's like there's a conspiracy here or a cult.
The Son, yeah.
Right.
Son.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
Quote unquote.
It's like, and there's the mom, quote unquote,
right.
That they are a cabal of evildoers.
Right.
But you're still you've got enough information to piece together the plot without one telling you where the story is going, but two, something that it all the logic holds up through this thing. I think that's one of the great things. It really is masterful storytelling and editing, and this is common throughout Ty West's films. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think
because he does it all.
Yep. And he does it on a tight budget.
Yep.
Thank you, Larry Fessenden, showing these guys the way on how to do it. I think I will have to rethink. Because we remarked about how did this not end up on the top 100?
Right.
And there are some things, and now, God, we've seen in the past 4 years, you guys, we've seen so many more horror movies just because of doing what we're doing.
It's tough. There's things that are going to fall off.
What do I do this time that I didn't do the last time? And that's a sort of a prelude to everybody out there. We're going to be rebuilding after to celebrate 4 years of the Scariest Things.
Yay!
It's time to rejigger our top 100 list, because
Shuffle that list.
That's plenty of time to add in some really, really good movies. And we've got a lot of new voices who we've met, and we'd love to get their input on. And so it could be a very different list.
This is Eric's way of saying, Final Destination, you're not making the cut.
Blue Velvet.
Can we just take it off now and put this on? Well, maybe we'll put an asterisk.
Yeah.
But say,
Final Destination, Event Horizon.
The Event Horizon.
Hey, that stays.
So I'm really eager to see how these things play out, because this is a movie. Really, it's one of the best, of the cult genre. I think you put this up with Kill List.
Yeah.
I really liked Satanic Panic. This is better than Satanic Panic. But when you
different.
It's different.
But I'd say watch them together.
Yeah, I mean, these are
what's funnier.
Oh, the horror comedy. Yeah,
horror comedy.
Yeah. The Fangoria horror comedy. Right. Yeah.
With Rebecca Romaine.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, but and that's no smear on Satanic Panic. It's,
right.
It does describe how good House of the Devil is.
Right. Yeah.
I think I think you could. Exorcist is in a group by itself, but this one's sort of running, keeping pace.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, I think that's all the time we have today for House of the Devil. So I want to thank everyone for indulging us and joining us for episode 133, the missing episode.
Yeah, one of the big changes that we may have coming forward on our website, at least, is the Roman numerals may disappear.
They may,
although it is kind. I mean, it as the one who has to remember to put them on there, it's like, is 133 is
how many X's is that?
Yeah, C X X X I. I think that's 133. I'm getting it. It's teaching me to think in Roman numerals,
right,
but I don't want to have to do that for too much longer. Again, it's taken a lot of brain power and text space. Yeah.
Well, if I was to look, I think if I remember correctly on my top 25 horror list, I put House of the Devil I. It might have been VI though, or IV.
All right. Well, folks, so we managed to sneak in an extra episode for you. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you do like the way this kind of a format of shorter single format or single film reviews, let us know, because we're willing to do some things like this. We do like our survey type things that we normally do. We like to change things up. There is a deep well of topics that we have yet to cover, but certainly, if you want to be a patron of ours and you have a movie that you would like us to cover,
we're on it.
Yeah, all you have to do is go to our website, scariestthings.com, 1T, join our Patreon group, and anybody who becomes a patron gets to nominate a topic. And if your topic happens to be, I really want you to talk about the Babadook or Slumber Party Massacre or, I Spit on Your Grave, whatever you want us to do, so
I can just start paying and make
that's right, forcing me to watch Martyrs. That's what this is.
All right.
We could have Wayne do it, and then Wayne could,
Right. Yeah. You'd never know.
Wayne could force that hand.
All right.
Anyways, great to be now fully caught up and in sequence.
That's right. Now go watch House of the Devil.
Oh wait, do we have a tagline? Do we?
Tagline for House of the Devil? I don't know do you know, Liz? Do you know what the tagline for House of the Devil is? I think it is
woefully underprepared for episode.
Watch out! The devil's in your house.
No, it is talk on the phone, finish your homework, watch TV, die.
Nice. Couldn't have. There you go.